everyone. Hello and welcome to the new moon solar eclipse in Sidereal Sagittarius intention setting workshop for January 4th, 2019. Happy New Year and welcome. Give me just one moment. I'm going to refresh my browser and pull the comments up on my laptop just in case there's any question or comments during the broadcast. That way, if I can't see them here on the phone where I'm broadcasting from, I'll be able to catch them on my actual computer here. And there's the broadcast. So looks like we are all set. I'm going to pull my notes back up. Welcome, 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 welcome everyone. I'm Phaedra. I'm the astrologer and artist of Mystick, Physick Astrology. And I use Western Sidereal Astrology in my practice. And it's really to help you reconnect with your soul purpose and to remember why you came into the world to begin with. And my aim is really to kind of provide guidance on how you can consciously use the energy of the transiting planets to affect your lives in a positive way. And so really the idea is we want to be able to respond to our transits rather than react to them. And so we're working with the Fagan-Bradley Sidereal Zodiac tonight on a Western style chart. If you need to look up your sidereal sign placements, you can use the online calculator at mystickphysick.com/sidereal tools. And there's a link for that in the description of the video. But you can just plug in your birth data and it'll generate a chart for you. You can take a quick screenshot and that's all you'll need to bring with us to tonight's broadcast. What we're going to do, we're going to talk a little bit first about this particular new moon, the solar eclipse in Sagittarius. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what house and the themes of that house this particular new moon is falling in for each of you by rising sign, by your sidereal rising sign. So that's what you'll want to know, your sidereal rising sign for tonight's broadcast. And once I've gone through recapping what house this is falling in for each of you, we'll talk about Sagittarius specifically, the themes, the archetypes, and I'll go over a couple of prompts to help us with setting our intentions. And I hope you brought extra paper with you tonight. If not, grab some. I really want to have you spend a little extra time with the new moon tonight because it's an eclipse, right? It's a little bit more powerful. But spend some extra time with it, writing an affirmation to go with your intention tonight, and drawing out what it is you want to manifest, whatever that outcome is that you settle on after we go through tonight's exercise. But thanks, welcome. It's good to have you with me. We have tonight a new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius, and we have a stellium going on in Sagittarius. This is kind of a big deal. We're going to explore your big why. We're going to explore what are you really aiming for with tonight's intention setting, and what do you need for your own expansion, for your own growth and development, okay? So tonight's new moon solar eclipse is at 20 degrees, 24 minutes of Sagittarius. It's actually exact tomorrow. We're doing this just a little bit ahead of time so that folks who are catching the replay can catch it in a kind of a timely manner. But we feel the eclipse very strongly over a period of a couple of weeks, the week leading up to the eclipse and the week after. Eclipses are much more powerful than a typical new or full moon. They're like that times 3, times 10, whatever you want to times it by. They have more oomph, right? And so whereas a normal new or full moon would be at its most powerful for a period of about 3 days, the day before, the day of, and the day after, an eclipse, a new or full moon, is going to be powerful for a period of about 2 weeks. And then there are other times, of course, that we do feel them in the months leading up to and the months leading away from an eclipse. If you want to explore that in more depth, you'll want to check out the Eclipse Essentials video. I posted a link to it in the last broadcast I did for the Sidereal Insights Astro Update, but I can follow up with a link for you guys today in case you want to recap on that. But eclipses are like very powerful new and full moons. And so the intentions that you set tonight could have huge impact. Not only for it being an eclipse, but for it being an eclipse in Sagittarius. It's ruled by Gemini. We have a stellium. We have a lot of planetary power and oomph behind whatever we decide to initiate in the days after today's full moon. Hi, Rosalind. It's good to have you with. I see you're saying hi. I'm kind of rambling here. But a stellium, what's a stellium? A stellium is what's called a crown of stars. It's when we have 4 or more planets in a sign. And we include the sun and the moon, which are the luminaries. We include them when we say the planets in astrology. We're talking about the heavenly bodies within our solar system that we're looking at specifically in a chart. So when we say planets, we include the sun and moon. So what does this mean? It means that the outcome of whatever you begin under this new moon can affect many different areas of life, and you can identify what those areas of life are for you by identifying the houses that are ruled by the planets currently in Sagittarius. So of course the sun and the moon, that's your Leo house and your Cancer house, right? We also have Pluto, Mercury, and Saturn currently in Sagittarius. So look to the houses that are ruled in your natal chart by those planets, right? So you're looking for Scorpio, Capricorn, and Virgo and Gemini. Those are the houses through which you will feel the outcome of tonight's new moon. And that's an outcome that can take quite a long period of time to play out. Eclipse cycles generally run 12 to 18 months or longer. This particular eclipse cycle is going to extend through January, I believe, of next year. Okay. So you're talking about an outcome that could be playing out in 6 months or in 12 months. So that's how far into the future we're looking at this particular stellium having an effect. Okay. But it also means that with tonight's new moon, the stellium that we have going on is coloring and flavoring our experience of it with the qualities of the other planets that are currently in Sagittarius. So we're going to feel this a couple different ways. We'll feel it, of course, through the lunation itself, but then we're also going to feel the stellium affect us through its outcome. Okay, so check your sidereal natal chart for planets or personal points at 20 or 21. I would even include the degree 21 of Sagittarius or one of the other fire signs, so Aries or Leo, or one of the air signs, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Rosalind said, I didn't know eclipse influences could last up to a year. So yes, eclipses, an eclipse cycle generally, because eclipses happen in families of signs, they'll happen in the same family of signs, usually for at least 12 months, sometimes longer. And that's part of what we're feeling right now. So the January eclipse of this year, the first one in Sagittarius, is a continuation of the Gemini Sagittarius series, which began last July. And the one that we're going to have in 2 weeks in Cancer is going to be the final one in the Cancer Capricorn series that we've had going on for almost 2 years now. So this is the Cancer Capricorn stretch has been a particularly extended eclipse series, but they'll happen in pairs in those signs over the course of usually 12 months, sometimes 18 months, and then in the case of this last Cancer Capricorn series for 24 months. And so each eclipse in this series acts as though it unlocks the next stage of whatever is unfolding across that series. And so you get better and better clues as to what that is for you by paying attention to what big things happen in your life around eclipse time. And so it's usually a major change, it's usually a permanent change, something that you just kind of have to adjust to, that you don't really have a say in. But yes, they're particularly powerful, and so they affect us more intensely, but they also affect us over longer stretches of time because of that. With this particular new moon, we have the stellium, as I was talking about, but we also have Uranus stationing direct just afterwards. He's the final planet to do so. So once Uranus stations direct, all of the planets in the solar system are going to be in forward motion, which is a perfect time to be making major initiations that you have planned for the coming year. So we have this nice little window of opportunity that's opening up right after this new moon for you to be taking action towards whatever is most important to you, whether that's your New Year's resolution or something else, doesn't matter. but use the coming days to take action. I particularly like the 11th because that's the day the Sun and Pluto meet up in the sky. That can be particularly transformative, anything that you begin with that aspect going on. But what you'll read, and after the broadcast, if you haven't had a chance to read the January overview and short reports or the full horoscopes by sign, head to the website after the broadcast and read them. I wrote about this particular eclipse that the exposure of secrets, lies, or deceptions could cause loss in the days around this eclipse, or as a result of events that happen now, either through a change in the parties in control of whatever the situation is, or the exposure of that information, that hidden information, could otherwise influence the outcome in some other way. But you'll want to make an extra effort to pay attention to details right now. With a lot of Sagittarius energy going on, we can easily get lost in the big picture, the broader view, which is an important perspective to have, but you also want to make sure that you're paying attention to the details, okay? And so it just takes extra effort with so much energy in Sagittarius to do that, okay? But I like the 11th for making initiations or for beginning your New Year's resolution. The 14th is also a nice date. That's a date where if you're shooting for more of like a mystical or a fantastical type of outcome, something that's a little more dreamy or has an illusory quality, you could use the 14th to make your initiation. But if you have Aries rising, this is a 9th house new moon for you. So grab your pen and paper and jot this down. Pay attention when I call out your sidereal rising sign. So for Aries, it's higher education, long distance travel, long distance communication. So these are things like publishing and broadcasting, religion, philosophy, law. Those are 9th house topics, as is immigration. Taurus, 8th house. So other people's resources fall under 8th house. These are things that come to you through the people that you know in your life. Taxes and insurance can be 8th house monies, inheritance, money that comes to you through a will or an estate, bonus or commission income, or lottery winnings. Those are also 8th house, any kind of windfall money. And then the 8th house also governs the occult, death, rebirth, transformation, those sorts of themes. Okay. For Gemini rising, this is a 7th house new moon. So partnership, marriage, business, relationships with other people in general, and what we reject about ourselves or project onto other people. Okay. Now that's more specifically the descendant, that last point. If you have Cancer rising, this is going to be a 6th house new moon for you. So work, health, pets, daily routines, employees, if you have them. Those all fall under your 6th house. And for Leo, we're looking at a 5th house new moon. So creativity and children, romance and true love, pleasurable activities, anything you do for fun, basically, hobbies, right? Sports and risk-taking or gambling fall under the 5th house. And then for Virgo, 4th house. So we're looking at home, family, real estate, later life, parents. For Libra, this is a 3rd house new moon for you. So transportation and writing, communication, local travel. So short distance travel, siblings and neighbors, your extended family, things like aunts and uncles and cousins. Those all fall under the 3rd house. And then immediate environment is also a 3rd house topic. For Scorpio rising, this is a 2nd house new moon for you. So earned income, wealth and possessions, movable assets, expenses, those all fall under 2nd house. So do themes around self-worth and our own personal values. For Sagittarius, this is a 1st house new moon for you. It's your birthday new moon, so happy birthday, Sagittarius babies. So 1st house is personality, right? It's identity, it's your self-expression, your physical body, how you look, your appearance, the way you dress, that sort of thing. But it also has to do with the role that you play in the world. And so a new moon in your 1st house, you get to use it in any way that you want to. It's kind of like a wild card new moon. But if you want to do something to kind of refresh your appearance with this new moon, that's also an excellent thing to do if you have Sagittarius sun or Sagittarius rising. For Capricorn rising, this is a 12th house new moon for you. So privacy and seclusion, spirituality, the unconscious mind, highly personal or private projects, solo projects, things that you're going to do pretty much by yourself behind closed doors. Those are 12th house activities. And also the unconscious mind. I think I said that already. Spiritual practices and institutions of seclusion fall under the 12th house. So this may have to do with work that you do with an institution of seclusion. Aquarius, this is 11th house new moon for you. So friends, organizations, hopes, and dreams, those are 11th house themes. And then for Pisces, finally, this is a 10th house new moon. So career, awards, recognition, achievement, status, and reputation, those are all 10th house themes. Okay, so for anyone who's joining us late, if you want me to recap for you what your house and themes are for this particular new moon, go ahead and let me know what your sidereal rising sign is in the comments, and I'll recap it for you. And then in the meantime, let's explore the Sagittarius archetype and Sagittarian theme. So Sagittarius is the archer, right? It's fire, it's mutable. So it's both action-oriented and passionate. About what? About ideals, right? Sagittarius is the archetype of the philosopher, the teacher. It's the free thinker, the traveler, and the explorer, right? So this can include the transient or the vagabond, right? Not just the world explorer type of traveler. Sagittarius is also the archetype of the priest or the lawgiver, the great benefactor, right? And then also finally the student, the one who has a curious mind, right? Always seeking knowledge, always seeking to explore. So this mutable, action-oriented energy. Sagittarius is adaptable, isn't it, to new and varied or different experiences. Sagittarian energy is very expansive. It's open. It's idealistic. It's friendly. It can be fun-loving energy, right? Sagittarius seeks understanding. Okay? Understanding which brings about wisdom. So it's a means to an end, isn't it? It represents a higher state which exists beyond mere knowledge learning, book learning, right? The wisdom that comes when you combine knowledge learning with experience. It represents faith, right? A higher power, not only in a religious sense, but also like a faith in humanity, right? The broader humanity. So think about this. Stephen Forrest, in his excellent book, I used to have it right here at my desk and I don't have it right here anymore. It's called The Inner Sky. If you get a chance to pick up a copy of this book, grab it. It's a great book. So in Stephen Forrest's book, The Inner Sky, he puts forth this idea that Sagittarius is not the archer as we know it. That Sagittarius is really the arrow in the archer's bow. And I want to play with that. I like that idea. What does the arrow do? That arrow that is in the archer's bow shoots high up in the air, right? Achieving this incredibly great vantage point over everything below it. Seeks its destination from that elevated perspective with an absolutely unwavering singularity of purpose. Right? So if Gemini, which is Sagittarius's zodiacal opposite, its counterpart, if Gemini is detail-oriented and analytical and specific, Sagittarius then represents that big picture perspective, that holistic worldview, that expanded worldview. And ultimately, Sagittarius is about the growth of the mind, right? It's an active fire sign, expansive principle. So it's about the growth of the mind through the expansion of experience, through the expansion of travel, through the expansion of learning, through the expansion of contemplation, any of these activities which expand your mind, and then bringing that expanded point of view back down to earth, to mankind. like that arrow, right? And so for this new moon, grab your pen and paper, because here's where we're going to write out our intentions. I'm going to run through some prompts for you here. I want you to think about, and you can work specifically with the house that Sagittarius falls in for you in your own natal chart, or you can work in the direction you feel most led, especially with this being an eclipse new moon. If you feel led in a particular direction, I would say follow it. But what is your goal? What is your big picture goal for the house that Sagittarius falls in your chart? Or what is your big picture goal for this year, for the coming 12 months? What is your desire? Why? And I want you to really get into understanding, why is this goal or desire important to you? What is it that's so important? What is it going to help you achieve? Right? Because there's a reason behind what it is you want, and it's going to help you get something. What is that? What does your ideal outcome look like? If you could have your perfect outcome, what does that look like for that desire, for that goal, for that intention? What does it look like for you? And I want you to get as detailed as possible and as idealistic as possible. Don't try to bring reality into this. I want you to focus on your absolute, what would your perfect, if everything went your way, what does your perfect outcome look like? What new thing can you set about learning which would allow you to manifest this intention or achieve the goal that you're setting? What is it that you don't know that you need to know to get there? Or what experience do you need to help you move forward in your desire or plan? So maybe it's not something that you need to learn, but maybe something that you need to understand through experience. What is that? So this is kind of about pushing out the boundaries of your comfort zone, right? We want to expand the boundaries of that comfort zone by doing things that are just a little bit uncomfortable. Okay? So write down on your paper tonight, I want you to write down your intention, your desire, your goal, whatever it is. And you can work, like I said, with the house that Sagittarius falls in your natal chart, or you can work where you feel most led. Take a moment as you write down this intention to visualize and draw out that ultimate perfect outcome that you want for this manifestation. And think big picture, right? We're talking 12 months. Okay? And then when you're done, I want you to write an affirmation that's going to help reinforce the intention that you have around this outcome. And your affirmation is especially what I want you to share in the comments when you're done. So we're going to take a few minutes. I'm going to recap these prompts. What is your goal, desire, or intention for the house Sagittarius falls in your natal chart for 2019, or for whatever intention you feel led to work with at this new moon? What is the big picture? Why is this goal or desire important to you? What is it going to help you achieve? What is your ideal outcome for this goal, desire, or intention? What does it look like? Describe it in detail. What new thing can you set about learning that'll help you manifest this intention? Or what experience do you need to gain that will help you move forward and move towards it? So those are some things to think about. You don't have to work with all of them. Like I said, just work with whatever you feel most drawn to. And tonight, in our moon gazing journal, the page that I'll be working with says, "Circle around the moon, it will rain or snow." And that is from folklore. So there you have it. Now you know what it means if there's a circle around the moon. But we're going to take a moment and do some writing, and then we'll reconnect here in just a few minutes and share what we've come up with. How's everyone doing? If you need a moment or two, let me know in the comments. So this is an interesting one for me. It's partnership. which I have some of those in my life. I have some partnerships. I'm self-employed and I run my own business, so I don't necessarily in this bubble of things that occurs right at my desk, right? But I work with other people in other capacities in partnership type arrangements. And I got thinking that's not something I really focused a lot of time or effort or energy on last year in 2018. And that would be a good thing to change for this year. So I set my intention around changing that. And don't feel obligated to share what you want to, what your intention is. But if you'll share your affirmation, that would be wonderful. But I'll share with you what I wrote for my intention. So for me, this is a 7th house new moon. And I wrote that I intend to step more fully into my partnership roles for 2019 and to do so with consistency. And I say that because when I reflect back, I did a lot of partnering in 2019. I wasn't necessarily really consistent about what I did do and when. And I know I could be a better partner in that sense if I just kind of, reignite and kind of kick that in the rear. So I intend to find ways to make partnering easy, simple, and sustainable, and to bring the best value that I can to my partners in 2019. That's what I wrote. I intend to be more present in my partnerships, especially in my marriage. And I think that's really what it's about, stepping fully into my partnerships and being more present. So that's my intention for this new moon in Sagittarius. I wrote for my affirmation, I just pulled it right out of my intention. If they could all be so easy to write, it'd be great. I wrote partnering is easy, simple, and sustainable. That's my affirmation. Partnering is easy, simple, and sustainable. So that's what I'm going to work with for this new moon intention setting. And I haven't drawn anything out, but I would encourage you to take the time to do that, whether you're doing it now on the broadcast or whether you do it after we finish the live broadcast. Draw out in detail what it is you want for the outcome. Get specific about it. And I suggest that you do that because I happen to know from personal experience that that'll make it come a lot faster than you expect, actually. So Rosalind says, new moon in my 5th house will square my 8th house sun and Venus exact and Saturn, and also trine Mars and Leo. You mentioned the 11th is the day that I go to my hearing, but I'm terrified because my attorney, I'm going to look at the comments here on the computer so I can read them a little bit better. I'm terrified because my attorney quit on me a couple weeks ago. You mentioned that in the last broadcast. So I'm going with my partner as my witness. My big picture goal is to get approved for disability next week on the 11th at my hearing, because this will allow me and my lover to move out of these stressful living environments and get an apartment together. Yes, we deserve to enjoy life. Yes, you do. Everyone does. Absolutely. Rosalind goes on to say it's very important that we'll be stress-free and be able to care for ourselves better, and then we'll also we can start enjoying our romantic relationship more, traveling and spending time together without all the current restrictions. There are so many pleasurable activities I wish to pursue this year if money works out for me, with my lover especially. I want to take jiu-jitsu classes, dance, and sing with freedom. That sounds exciting. I love it. Use my new telescope that's coming this spring or summer and more. And I'm scared. I've been crying a lot this week. Eclipses are times of change, permanent change, and I think that probably if any new or full moon was going to bring tears, it would be an eclipse one. They're just really intense, and oftentimes the change that they bring is change that is late in coming to an area of life, and often it's late in coming because we've been resisting it. It's usually change that we know we need to have happen, and we know it's going to be good for us, but usually we're resisting it for some reason. Oftentimes it's just because of fear of change, or fear of the unknown, or because it's uncomfortable, right? Eclipses, if we've been dragging our feet about making those changes, eclipses will force the issue. That's what they do. Okay? So watch what's going on for you right now, because that may be exactly what it is. But if you are cognizant of the fact that you need dramatic change in an area of your life and you're pushing towards it and pushing for it, it's easier to ride the energy of that change. And I think that that's exactly what you're trying to do here, Rosalind. So just be patient. Try not to make any plans. Don't make any plans. That's really my advice at eclipse time, is don't make any plans, because regardless of what you plan, the universe may have other ideas for you. So just hold tight and see what changes come to you, and then see what you have to work with once the eclipses have once the dust has settled, as they say. That would be my biggest advice there, just because they do bring some sort of change that you just have to find a way to adapt to. That's the biggest thing, is finding a way to adapt to it. But thank you for joining me, Rosalind, and thanks for joining us, Catherine. Let me have a look and see if there's anything else that we need to touch on. I think I have, for announcements, mostly just go read your January overview and short reports. They're up on the website right now. Your full horoscopes by sign are up on the website. And read, especially because it's eclipse season, read your full horoscope by sign for your sidereal rising sign and your sidereal sun sign. Read for both, because then you're going to get a clearer, bigger picture view of what to expect from the January eclipses. Okay. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, and I'm talking about the new YouTube channel, not the one we started a year ago, be sure to subscribe to the new YouTube channel. That way you won't ever miss a video. And if you don't, this is going to be my final thing. I'm going to share a link for this. Let me put my notebook out of the way here. I'm going to share a link for this in the comments. If you don't have your Ultimate Astrological Planner for 2019, get you one. Right there. There's the link. You can check out all the different styles that are available, a lot of different cover designs. You can get day planners. You can just get little like slimline executive planner, whatever it is you need. But this will have all of the current daily transits, whether you use sidereal or tropical zodiac. You have your choice. But grab it, and that way you'll never have Mercury retrograde sneaking up on you during the coming year. And it'll help you with all of your planning activities. The besties for love, luck, and business are color-coded, so you'll know them at a glance for the entire year. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining me. We'll see you again next time. Bye.